We have indeed. So we're sitting here waiting patiently at the carcass, and it's paid off, not because Thandi and Cub has arrived, but, well, because Tinyo is on the scene, and we know that the Birminghams also are very opportunistic and show up in the most random of places. So massive surprise, and maybe that's why Thandi and Cub got out of here, as they heard these boys coming, knew they weren't far away, and now they've just decided they're going to try get out. But this male knows something is here. He's come in, he's walked straight in this direction. You can see he's kind of sniffing around, and I wouldn't be surprised if he climbs this tree. It's a small enough tree for him to go in, and maybe we'll get the most epic sighting of a male lion climbing the tree. And we heard squirrel's alarm calling earlier, and we thought maybe it was Thandi and Cub on their way back, but evidently it's this male, because you can, there we go, you see he spotted the carcass in the tree now. Look, you can see he's got his nose up. Tinyo, have you found yourself a meal, boy? Yep, there we go. Nose is in there. He's most certainly smelt this. He knows that there is something here. And you can see he's just stopping, just double checking what's going on. He knows that there is definitely a food item. The smell of rotten waterbuck and dike is like ringing the dinner bell for a male lion. And like I say, that tree is not that far away. He could definitely get up into that tree, that's for sure. It's not a small sort of distance to go up onto this sort of bottom of the tree to the first fork is actually not that far at all, and a big male lion like this would easily be able to get up there. We know that the Birminghams have climbed trees before, so it could most definitely be something that he would get up to. But I think just taking stock of the situation first, making sure there's no leopard around that he needs to chase. No, he's going to just go away. Are you going to sniff around there first? It's very interesting. I would have thought that he would have come straight to this tree and taken it. But he seems as though he's not interested. Maybe he's on more of a mission to find the females than he is. That's very interesting. I would have thought he definitely would have gone up there for those little carcasses, because there's meat on offer for nothing. Maybe he realizes there's not much there and he's just deciding he's going to go and rather check out what's happening. But either way, interesting behavior. I would have thought that he was going to go up and actually go and try and grab it. Now, Michael, you say this is awesome. This is the first time you've come across this stream. Well, welcome, Michael, to the epicness that is a live safari. I hope that you will be joining us for many, many more. And remember, it is interactive, so you can ask us lots of different questions. If you have any questions about this lion and what's going on, you're more than welcome to ask. Now, I may have mentioned earlier, Michael, that this is a Birmingham male and his name is Tinyo. So the Birmingham males, Michael, are a coalition of 4 male lions that we have of the Sabi Sands. They've taken over this northern section as well as many other parts of the Sabi Sands, and they have mated with multiple different females. And lately we haven't seen too much of them, Michael, and the reason why is because they've got such a big area. They've been going all over the place, and so very little of them has actually been seen. Now, the reason why this male is called Tinyo is because if you look at him now, he's going to have a little lip that kind of curls up slightly on that left-hand side, and it often shows his tooth. And so Tinyo means a tooth, and that's why he got that name. It's a very apt name, I should say, because it's often sort of snarling and has his tooth out. But look at how his head is down. You see how he's sniffing? I think the rest of the lions came through here as well. There was tracks for the Nkahuma pride all over the place here. And so I'm pretty sure that he's trying to sniff out the Nkahuma pride, which is the resident pride in this area. Well, we've got this Birmingham who's done a full circle and is now back at the tree where Thandi's kill is. He's now going straight towards it. So I wonder if he's just circled round in the checking what else is here and trying to actually find exactly where it is. But he's on his way straight there. So let's just try and keep up with him, because I think he might, maybe he will go up this tree. I don't know. It's going to be touch and go. He seems not to be that interested. He kind of, actually, hold on. There we go. He's changed direction now. Now he's looking. Has he spotted it now? Maybe he has. I don't know. He's looking in the tree very quizzically. Says probably is wondering why there is no leopard here. That's probably what's going through his mind. But how he's not seeing it, I'm not sure, because they're right there. That's the branch that they're on. There's both the carcasses, one over there, and then the other one is just to the left-hand side. So, I mean, it's not like it's difficult to see, and if we can see it, he surely can see it as well. But he's sniffing intently. He's looking. I don't know what he's up to. And it's not like he couldn't do with the meal. You can see his tummy is sucked in a little bit. So you would think that he would go up there and try and grab it. You would think that he would be hungry enough to expend the energy. But he just doesn't seem interested in actually doing it. He's Unless he can't see it, I don't know. No, there we go. I think he spotted it now. So let's see if he's going to go up this tree. It'll be interesting if he is. There we go. He's going towards the tree. I think he's going to go up into the tree now. So I think we'll do an action broadcast quickly. Well, very warm welcome to all of those of you that have just joined us to this live safari. As you can see, we have a beautiful big male lion in front of us, and there's about to be an incredible scene unfolding. My name is Tristan. On camera today, I've got VM, and this is a live interactive safari. So post any questions or comments that you have in the comment section below, and we'll happily answer as many as we can. Now, this male lion, you see, he keeps looking into the tree, and the reason why I was saying we were going to get an unusual sighting is because in that tree are two carcasses. There's a duiker carcass and a waterbuck, and they've been left there by a leopard. There was a leopard female and her cub here yesterday, and she's probably gone off for water, and this male lion opportunistically has come across this, and he might climb up the tree. So a lot of people don't believe that lions can climb, but this male lion might just show just how well they can do it. Here we go. Look, he's going to go up. How cool is this? He's going to go... It's not as graceful as he's a bit hesitant because, well, climbing a tree is not the easiest, but he will get up there eventually. So let's see. There he goes. And look at the power in that. That is a massive 500-pound cat that has just climbed the marula tree and is up in there. How cool is this? That is as epic as it could ever get. So he's going to go up and he'll take it out. He's not going to feed up there like a leopard would. He's going to take the carcass out of the tree, and he's going to then feed on it on the ground rather. So you'll find that situation where he's not going to eat up in the tree because, well, at the end of the day, it's not very comfortable up there. You can see he's struggling a little bit to actually get into the tree itself and to balance himself. So let's see how he goes. He's kind of trying to reposition it and trying to get it a little bit sort of better sorted so that he can actually come down with it and try and sort of figure out a way to dismount this marula tree that he's currently in. So I don't know how he's going to do it, but let's see. Now, a lot of you are saying, wow, amazing. It is amazing. Now, look how he walks, head up, proud as though he's done himself a very good job. It is incredible what he's just done. It is amazing to watch lions climbing tree. It is not every day that you'll get to see that. Now, unfortunately for Thandi and Cub, there goes her waterbuck carcass, and well, there's still a bit of a dike in there, so we might see a round two a little bit later, but he's going to wolf this down first, and that will be hardly a meal for a male lion. He's certainly not going to sort of touch sides. It's not very much there at all, but he'll finish most of it. I'll just try and reposition ourselves so we can actually see him a little bit better than what we see now. Now, unfortunately, we're not in an action broadcast, so the rest of you can still ask as many questions as you have, and if you've never seen a male lion climbing before, well, how spectacular was that? That is as good as it gets. It kind of took him a bit of time to figure out how exactly to get up into the tree, but so cool to see. Now, a lot of you are saying, well done, Tinyo. Well, he did do pretty well, and luckily for him, the tree is not exactly that high where the first fork is, and that means he could just jump out of the fork and didn't actually have to climb down properly. So, Michael, you reckon the score on the climb from the judges was a solid 7 and the dismount a solid 8? Well, I agree. I think the dismount was probably better than the climb. I think he did very well and certainly more elegant than a number of other male lions I've seen climbing trees. I've seen a couple male lions climb trees and come out and end up face first. Now, here comes the hyenas. We're going to get some interaction with hyenas now as well. So, 2 hyenas have arrived. They obviously heard the climbing and the movement, and they're going to come in here and they're going to get an awfully big fright expecting a female leopard and to find a big male lion instead. So this could be quite cool to see. There is also going to be another vehicle that's going to join us shortly because, well, we are out here and there's a number of other vehicles that are going to come in. So there come the marauding hyenas. They're going to see, oh, hang on, there's a lion here and are not going to be too... Let's see if they're going to harass him. He has no idea that they're approaching. Look, there they come. They're not too far from him. Oh, you see, hyenas are far more scared of lions than lioness of a hyena. All he did was turn his face and growl at them, and they both went running. Not a female leopard at all. A female leopard would have been hounded by these hyenas. They thought they were going to try their luck, but unfortunately for them, male lion 1, hyenas 0 at this stage. But this one, there's one coming around on the right side. Let's see if it's going to come around the back of that vehicle towards where this lion is. It went running behind that car there. There it comes. You see it's coming from the front side now. Now they've got their tails up, and I wonder if there's going to... Oh, no, it's decided. That hyena, I think, has just about pooped itself. Then it saw the face of a male lion staring back at it and just absolutely bolted, and has left its friend for dead. The friend is just kind of sitting here by itself, and the others have all run off. So Tinyo is definitely a much more imposing presence than even female lions will be. You'll find that female lions will still get hounded by hyenas, but a male lion, not a chance. Both of these hyenas absolutely pooped themselves when they saw that it was a male lion and not a female leopard that they were busy looking at. So pretty incredible to witness. What an epic sighting. This tree has provided so much over the last few days. Sky, you're wondering if Tinyo will go and get the other carcass. He might. I don't know if he'll get it right now. He's going to obviously eat this and polish this off fairly quickly, and once he's done with that, then he might go, or he might rest and then go and get this one a little bit later. But he certainly, I don't think, would leave it up there. I think if there's a chance for food, he will try and take it and he'll try and feed off it. What's going to be interesting is whether or not Thandi and Cub arrive back here. Hopefully they don't, because we don't want a situation where the Cub and Thandi walk into Tinyo. Rather they stay away, and with the squirrel alarm calling the way that it is, and the hyenas around and standing quite alert, hopefully Thandi will get the sign that something's not right here and move away then. But it's going to be an interesting kind of play out this morning and see exactly how this goes, and whether or not Tinyo does attempt a secondary climb, and whether or not he goes up to actually try and find that food and actually sort of get that duiker out. If he does, it's going to be the most epic thing, because the branch that he'll have to walk on will mean that we'll have him like we did with Thandi, where it'll just be complete clear sky behind a male lion in a tree, and there's the duiker there. So I mean, it's not very big and there's not much on it, but it's still nutrients for nothing, and so I wouldn't be surprised if he does jump up there and try and feed on it. Absolutely insane. Who could have scripted this? And that's the best thing about doing safaris every single day, is that you never, ever, ever, ever know what's going to happen, and you can never tell how things are going to play out. We've had yesterday morning the beauty of Thandi and Cub together, then the intrigue of the lionesses walking close by, her going off, Cub going missing in the afternoon, and now a male lion showing up and stealing the kills. It's really just, you couldn't have scripted it any better than what we have seen over the past 24 hours at this kill. It's really quite phenomenal. But you'll see with him, we did have lots and lots of action. Now it's just all about feeding. So Tinyo is there just eating as much as he can, crunching every little bone. It's actually quite amazing to hear him eating. The funny thing is, though, is the squirrels all went quiet, and it was very quiet out here, and all of a sudden they've started calling again. So I wonder if maybe somebody else is now lurking around. You never know. It's just kind of one of those sightings where it's almost like anything can happen, and we know that Thandi and Cub could potentially move back in this area. We also know that Angama pride tracks are all around us. There's also another male lion somewhere in this general vicinity that was roaring at some point this morning, and so there's lots happening around, and who knows what could pitch up here and what could unfold as we go. One thing's for certain is it's not hyenas, because they are absolutely vanished since they saw this male lion. They are gone. Both of them tucked their tails and ran for their lives, and so it seems as though it might just be Tinyo on his own. The squirrel's now stopped. Maybe it was because he lifted his head at one point that the squirrel then saw him again, although I would be quite surprised if that was the case. But how incredible is this? It's very, very cool to see. We are super fortunate to have just witnessed what we did. It was, like I say, as good as one could ever ask for, and to see a male lion climbing up a tree. And we had the perfect spot as well, because he kind of faced us when he did it, and the way that he kind of just pulls himself up, and you can see it's a very different climb to the way that Thandi did yesterday. So yesterday we watched Thandi go up and down these trees, and she's very dainty and just goes up and quickly, and she's in the tree and then onto another branch, and it's all very fast and very fluid. Whereas the male lion is more brute strength, so he kind of gets his paws up and then literally just sort of does a pull-up basically, and takes those front legs and just pulls his body weight into the tree, and then from there he'll just climb up to that carcass. But I'm really, really hoping that he goes towards that other duiker, because if he does, the view of him standing on that branch like Thandi did yesterday will just be the most epic shot that you could ever imagine. And so let's see how we go. But he's, I think, already gone through 3 legs. I think this is the last leg now that we're on, so I don't know how much is actually left there. He's kind of put it in a bit of a difficult spot for us to actually see what he's eating, but I don't know if there's going to be much left in the next little bit. You can hear those bones being crunched. So I'm glad that you guys can all hear it as well. What I was saying earlier is that the bones from a little waterbuck won't be any match for a lion's jaws, nor a hyena's too for that matter, but that's why he'll crunch this all down. There'll be very little left of once he's finished here. You can see now it's actually can't be too much left. He's kind of digging his head into the grass already. I reckon there's going to be a small amount. I wonder if he's going to realize that there's another carcass up there, or it's going to be a similar situation to what happened at Chitwa airstrip, where they robbed that carcass out, but they forgot that there was another one in there and left the other one up in the tree itself. So I'm interested to see whether or not he does go back, or if he just decides to sleep and lie down. Jeff, no, the lions don't get sick from eating rotten meat. Their stomachs are designed and are capable of dealing with very rancid meat. I've seen lions eating a giraffe that was so rotten that it was almost dripping. The flesh was starting to drip. It was kind of wasted away that much, and they still ate it, covered in maggots and all kinds of other things. So their stomach is incredibly strong, and it's able to deal with even those kind of bacteria, and so no, they don't get sick. Sometimes do find though that if they eat something that they're not feeling great, they'll try and eat a lot of grass, which causes them to regurgitate a little bit, and they then just vomit up some of the stuff that's maybe making them feel a bit uneasy, or if there's hooves and hair that they're battling to digest, then they'll do that. But I've never seen a lion kind of eat something other than something that maybe contains a disease. So, you know, if there's a situation where there is anthrax in a carcass, or somebody's laced it with poison or something like that, then yes, they can get sick. But that's not because the meat is rancid, it's because it's toxic in some way. Rancid meat they're able to pretty much process. And this, even though it's 4 days old and for us as people is unfit for human consumption, and you would probably be very, very ill if you ate that. Well, a lion, leopard and hyena, they wouldn't worry at all. They'll be able to consume that, no problem. Vian was actually telling me about a time when Karula killed I don't remember what it was, but she killed something and put it up into a tree and abandoned that carcass for close to a week, and then came back to the carcass a week later and ate it. So just gives you an idea of, well, how cool is this? Tinyo is about to go up to go get the dike now. He's just working out how to do it. He's getting himself into position, and then hopefully he's going to jump up once again. It looks like he's going to do it. I don't know if he will. He seems to be just hesitating a little bit. I think he's trying to work out what's the best way to go up. He might come round the tree a little bit. There we go. So that's how he's kind of thinking of doing it. You can do it, boy. It's not that far away. So you see he's eyeing out the diker now. He's just checking it. Okay, what is there? Look at that. It's amazing. I was just saying to Viam, isn't it incredible to think, oh, he's licking his chops now. I'm sure he's one of thinking, I can get up there, I can manage this. So it's incredible to think that well, a warm welcome to all of those that have just joined us on this live action broadcast. As you can see, something incredible is about to unfold in the fact that we've got a male lion at the base of a tree, and you can see his eyes are pointing up towards the top of the tree. And the reason why is that there is a carcass in the tree at the moment. So there is a kill that a leopard has left up there, and he already went up once and stole the one kill. The leopard had 2 kills, luckily, and there we go. There's the kill over there. You can just see the fur and a bit of a leg sticking out, and so he's been up once to steal 1 kill that the leopard had, and now he's going up hopefully for the second time. It is the most incredible thing to watch lions climb. They are not meant to be climbing. They're not designed to climb like a leopard is. A leopard is a far more agile animal, much smaller, is able to climb very easily, whereas a lion, it takes a lot more energy and effort, and this male lion has already displayed power once by going up into the tree, and now he's trying to do it again. It is going to be incredible if he gets to do it. This is absolutely amazing. Now, he's just stopped looking. I wonder if he's thought maybe it's not really worth it, because it's not a very big meal that's up there. In fact, he would gulp that down in about 1 minute. But let's see, he's kind of just staring off into the distance, and there's been a number of other animals around here. Obviously, we know that there was a leopard and a cub here yesterday, and she disappeared this morning from the scene, maybe because this male lion. There's also been tracks for a whole pride of lions, so that might be why he's looking off in the distance. Maybe he's spotted something else. But he seems as though he's not as interested in what's going on at the moment. He seems that he's kind of just a bit unsure. Now, Chris, you say this is great. Well, Chris, it is as epic as it gets. To see a male lion climb a tree will be just the most insane thing. So hopefully he will go up. Now, remember that you can be like Chris and post your comments and questions in the comment section below, and we'll try and answer as many as possible, because it is live, it is interactive, and so we like to hear from all of you. Now, he's looking. He's going to work out. I think he's going to go. Let's have a look. Seems like he might go up. This is how he went up last time, is he used his paw first. There we go. Do you see? How is that? That is absolutely insane. Now, you see, he almost fell out. They're not as graceful at all as something like a leopard, but there he goes into the main section of the tree. And how ridiculously cool is that? It is not every day that you're going to see a male lion up in a tree and him silhouetted against a blue sky. That is so, so cool. So we've been absolutely spoiled, that's for sure. Now, sorry, Chris, I didn't hear you very nicely there. So, Shelley, you say there's a lot of peer pressure from all of us watching, trying to urge him up and basically just watching his every move, and now he's got to try and get down. And this is always the funny part with male lions, is getting up is always fun, is always much easier than getting down. Their weight kind of pulls them out and gravity acts on them, and it becomes a lot harder for them to come down. I wonder if he'll sit on the branch and just have a little feed there. No, he's trying to work out how to turn around, which is quite entertaining, because, well, it's going to be very difficult for him in his sort of turning around ability, and I don't know if he's actually going to get this right, to be honest. I think he's in a situation we are being absolutely spoiled by all of this, that's for sure. Boy, what are you doing? There we go. Ralphie, you say this is your favorite video to wake up to. Well, Ralphie, I'm glad that you're enjoying this. I think many of us are. Oh, that was not very graceful, but he's down at least, and he's not going to be injured from that. It's not as good as a leopard dismount, that's for sure, but he's still done the job. Now I'm going to just reposition a little bit, because I want to be able to actually see him properly from where we are. I think let's go around. Maybe this side is going to be okay. Yep. So, Sky, you say the one thing about lions climbing a tree is that clearly leopards are not safe from lions, and, well, yes and no. So in a tree like this, a leopard surely, well, would have been able to go right up into the small branches of the tree. Because a leopard is so much lighter than the male lion, it can get into places where the lion just wouldn't be able to go. The branches would start to break if a lion went that area. And as you saw there, lions are quite tentative when they climb. They kind of try and put their foot down and test things, and so they wouldn't go after a leopard. And the thing is about it is that they want the meat. They don't want the leopard itself. They rather kind of leave the leopard up in the high part of the tree, grab the meat, and then come down and feel more comfortable on the ground itself. But in saying that, if a leopard can't get to a smaller branch, then they can still be grabbed in a tree. Right, well, our lion is down. He's going to demolish what is left of that little baby antelope. Well, we are having an incredible morning. You can see Tinyo is now stopped in the most perfect place, and he's just busy grooming himself. So he's in a situation where he's licking, just trying to get all of those bits of meat, and maybe if there's a bit of fur that was disturbed when he went up the tree. And how cool is that for a look into, the sort of intimate look into a male lion grooming. You can see those rough tongue, even the little hooks on the tongue, and as he licks, you can actually see how the fur is combed by that tongue. Isn't that incredible? That's very cool, William. Well done. It's not often you get to see that close. So that is his paw that he's busy going at, his left paw that he's busy licking, and you can see the size of that paw in comparison to his face is absolutely massive. So he's got a majorly big paw in comparison, and he does have actually a big track. Tinyo is one of the Birminghams that's got one of the biggest tracks. Even though he might not be the biggest bodied Birmingham, his feet are rather large, so seems to always leave a nice big paw print when he's around. One thing is for certain is that that face has seen a few battles of recent times. You can see there's a nice big gash under that left eye that he's got at the moment, and then a lot of little scars and wounds and various other things. And Tinyo probably is the most scarred of the Birminghams. I suppose Mfumo's also got a few on him too, but definitely Nena and Nsuku look a lot cleaner in the face than Mfumo and Tinyo. But awesome to see them again. It's been a long time since I've spent as long with the Birminghams and as active as this. Generally, I find that my luck with the Birminghams is that they tend to be sleepy whenever I find them, but today has been nothing short of epic, that's for sure. So I've thoroughly enjoyed my time, and I know a lot of you out there have been missing our lions quite a bit, and they seem to have come back a little bit in the last few weeks. We've seen a lot more of them than months prior to this, so it's nice that we've managed to kind of get into a situation where we can actually see these guys again. The other great thing about this, and I know it sounds really weird, is that these lions came from the north and almost a little bit to the east of where this kill was. And what's that meant is that I reckon Thandi has heard these lions or seen these lions during the night, and it meant that she came down and went back west, deeper into Djuma, because we're very, very close to the Torchwood boundary here, and my worry was yesterday that she might just come down and walk straight into Torchwood with this cub, particularly if there was a threat of lions on the sort of western side of her, that she might then push into Torchwood and we wouldn't get to see her for quite a while. But these lions being here have actually meant that Thandi is now pushed back right into the center of Djuma, which is absolutely perfect. So that's also good news at the end of the day. But look at that, you can see the claws coming out a little bit. Look, how cool is that? That's such a cool visual. Now, VM is doing a sterling effort, and I believe a lot of you are absolutely loving these close-ups. Dr. Rob, you say his paw is as big as a salad plate. Well, it's about that size, and if you've ever been up close to a lion, and which I luckily have done, and you take their paw, you kind of grab it in two hands when they've been darted, and you check their claws, and if you push on their pads and the claws come out and the toes spread slightly, it really is the size of a salad plate. It is absolutely incredible how big their feet are. I would love to see a tiger's feet at some point in my life. I want to know how big those tracks are, because I believe a male tiger has absolutely monstrous size footprints. So I would love to see those guys as well, but he definitely does have huge paws, that's for sure, and it's an incredible thing to be close to them and just to see the sheer scale of them. You know, yesterday we had Thandi here, and I was just thinking about it just now. When he went up the tree, in comparison to her in that tree, he is positively ginormous. He was much larger, and I know it's a given that male lions are bigger, but he just dwarfed that tree in comparison to what Thandi was. Now you can see he's kind of looking back over at the tree as if to say, is there any more? I'm sorry, boy, there's not much, unfortunately. Right, well, we're going to sit tight with Tinyo and see what he gets up to. I don't think he's done for the morning just yet, and so while we sit here and enjoy his company, let's go back across to Ralph, who's in the company of a feathered friend this time. We do indeed. So Tinyo is back up the tree and still trying to find food. I don't know what he's doing, because there really isn't anything up there for him, but he's still going to persevere nonetheless and try his luck and see what he can find and see whether or not there is at least some semblance of nutrients up there. I wonder if he'll lie up there. Wouldn't that be epic if he decided just to sleep up there and to just sit down and kind of spread himself out like he would if he was a leopard? I think that would be very cool. Now, Vim, should we risk it and try and see if we can get round? Because I don't know if he's going to be up there for long, but there's a very cool shot from the other side with a nice clean sky. So we can try. Let's try, because we got quite a blown out sky behind there. So we're going to try and get round to where I had him yesterday, or where I had Thandi yesterday, although it looks like he's coming down now. So let's just actually stay right where we are, because I'm sure he's going to come down towards us, which is going to be pretty cool to see. That's for sure. Well, I think so anyway. Now, there sounds like something snorting next to us, so I don't know if maybe there's some sort of animal that's very close by, but there is something that's snorting. How cool is that? Is that just not the most epic sight ever, to have a big male lion of that size sitting in the tree? And you can see he's looking all over the place, trying to find. Ashton, you say you think he just likes his newfound climbing skills. Well, I agree, Ashton. I think he's now just showing off a little bit. Maybe he's realized that he can kind of climb, and so it's nice just to show off and have a situation where he can display how big and strong he is and how he's able to actually get up into a tree, which is it wouldn't surprise me. Male lions are funny things. Are you going to sleep there? No, you're not going to sleep there. Surely not. Oopsie. G1, you think maybe he thinks it's a magic food tree? Well, why not? If there was one and then there was two, well, why wouldn't there be a third? That would be quite a nice thing to have, is a tree that just magically produces carcasses whenever you climb it. And maybe that's what he's thinking, is that if he just climbs it enough, he will get himself another meal. This is so cool, though. Now, it looks like a bit of his mane has actually come off on the branch there. I don't know if it's his mane or the water bucks, but there's some sort of... No, that's his mane, I think, that's just pulled out. So you can see why our lions here tend to have much shorter manes than those of the Masai Mara, and it's because of the brush that they walk through and the treed areas that they walk through. A lot of their mane ends up pulling out and ending up on trees and branches like this. Please sit down on there. It will just be so epic if he lies down and actually sits there. I think it would be, I don't know about all of you, but I certainly think it would be a very cool thing to see. Oopsie, no, not very steady. This is just so cool. Are you going to try going down in reverse? No, that's not going to work for you, buddy. This is funny to watch, though. Come on, Tinyo. You can make a plan, buddy. You've done it twice. You can do it again. He looks very puzzled, doesn't he? He looks as though he doesn't quite know what to make of all of this. So Steph Winterboer says a circus lion. Well, yes, Steph, this is about as circus as it gets. I wonder how many times Steph has seen these lions up in trees like this. You can see he's also, just from grooming himself, has opened up that wound on his face quite a bit. So while he was rubbing with his paw, he caught it and just opened it up. And I think he's decided, now, that's it. No more show for all of you. I'm done being a circus clown. It's now time to carry on and be a strut around like a proper male lion and show himself off like the ringmaster. Right, let's just turn around, because otherwise we're not going to see very much at all. It looks like he's actually going to go now and going to get himself into a situation where he's going to maybe go for water. I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case, given that it's after a meal they often do try and go find water. I'm just trying to get myself into a place where I can turn. Right, now I'm going to turn around and try and follow Tinyo. There are a number of other cars with us. So while I do that and see where he's going to go and whether or not he's going to go in for a drink, let's send you back across to Ralph and his patient heron, who is still waiting for food. Well, you're not the only one sniffing about, Scotty. There is Tinyo is also, well, not only panting, but sniffing too. He's on the tracks for the Angama Pride. They're all around us here. I've got tracks for the Angamas all on the road and in this section. Where they actually ended up, I'm not quite sure, but he's sniffing under every bush. He's following these kind of footprints, and you can see he'll probably end up lying right there, because this is where a number of the tracks are. And I think he's getting quite hot. The sun is coming out now, and it's starting to get a little on the warm side. And unfortunately, there's not a very good view. VM, let me go forward for you a little bit, because there's a little gap here, and we should be able to see what's going on a little better than what we've got at the moment. So there we go. That's good, VM. How's that, buddy? So I think that should be a bit better. You can see he's got himself into a really nice little bush there with a nice amount of shade. It's at least going to be far more comfortable than if he was in the bright sunlight, because I can tell you now, since that sun's come out from the clouds, it is incredibly warm. And so for a male lion, after climbing and eating, it's, I suppose, time for a nap soon. So he'll probably just pass out under this tree, and this is where he'll spend the majority of the day. What interests me is where these Angamas have gone. They seem to have walked everywhere. I was asking Aubrey and listening to the conversation that he had with Noel about where their tracks went, and they went on Mamba, and they went on Central, and they went on Chitwa, and they were at Gwaripan, and so they've moved around quite a bit last night, and I wonder if they're not just lying somewhere in this general vicinity, and that's why he was tracking them, and he bumped into us with Thandi's kills, and just kind of made his way there and got himself a fortuitous meal. And I suppose you know, a little bit of nutrients goes a long way. But it's funny to see how that didn't even fill him up. That's the amazing thing. He doesn't even look as though he's eaten. Tweety Kid, you're wondering if a lion would kill with a single blow from its paw. So probably not. I mean, it could disable an animal for sure. So I have seen lions hitting animals on the back, so when they're running away, they just kind of put their paw down on the top of that animal and they break their back, and that animal is disabled immediately, but it's not dead. So actually killing it, no, probably not, unless some freak accident it's able to kind of break its neck in a place that does something that kills it immediately. But generally, no, it just disables the animal. Most of the time also when lions hunt, is they're not actually trying to hit the animal and put a lot of power into it. They're more trying to trip the animal up so that the animal skids, and then they can just grab it with their teeth and try and get it over the throat or the mouth in order to suffocate it in that way. So they're not in a way that they're trying to actually kill an animal by swiping it with its paw. I think if they had to hit you though, imagine if you've seen people slap each other. If a lion had to slap you, I think you would know all about it. And if you were a baby, I think maybe there could be a definite possibility that it would be able to break the neck and kill a baby. But as an adult human, I'm not sure. It would be interesting to know. I certainly wouldn't want to be the one that finds out what it's like to be slapped by a male lion. Would you want to be, Vildy? No, I don't think so. It'll wipe you out, exactly. And if it doesn't break your neck, it's certainly going to leave a nice big gash across the face, that's for sure. And your face will be a bit of a mess. So I suppose it's possible, but they don't really, that's not how they operate, is they're not trying to kill everything with the swipe of the paw. And in terms of when they fight together, they won't kill each other. They're built strongly. That's why they've got these manes, is to try and kind of make sure that they don't kill each other with just one swipe of the paw. It's to try and protect themselves and make sure that they are somewhat protected from fighting with one another. But you can see he's kind of just turned his head away slightly and is just moving off. Well, not moving off, but kind of moving towards the back end. And this is what happens when you have to groom it, is you have to start trying to sort of get into all those spots that you couldn't reach. And so I think he's setting up for a afternoon snooze, or morning and afternoon snooze, should I say, under this bush, because when they start to groom like this, and they groom everywhere, including their genitals, which is what he's busy doing right now, then it's normally time for sleep and time for a bit of a rest. So we'll just have to see how it goes. Lions are pretty obsessed with that part. They tend to groom there quite a bit, male lions. I don't know why, but they do it quite often. It's a strange kind of phenomenon. Right, Vildi, should I reposition? Because this is not a very good view at all. We've got a bit of the back and the shoulders. Ooh, Kyle, you want to know who's more graceful when it comes to climbing trees, James or Tinyo? Well, I'll tell you one thing, is Brent is definitely the least graceful of all of them. And he, well, we know, fell out of a tree very, very quickly, and he ended up on his backside. So Brent is definitely the least graceful. Then I would say probably Tinyo would be there, and then I think James does a very good job. James is very elegant in the way that he climbs and dismounts, and even when he slips, he makes it look like he intended to slip, whereas everybody else tends to look as though they've made a mistake. Even Tinyo, he kind of stumbled a bit on his dismount. He should have stuck with his first one. His first one was his best dismount, and then the next two that followed were not ideal at all. So he's got some work to do on that, and he'll have to try and compete with James. I'm sure James will be very happy to hear that he's the best tree climber out of Brent and Tinyo. Now, I can't remember who climbed the tree when it was the carcass on Chitwa airstrip. Phil, did you remember who it was? I think it was maybe Nena that climbed the tree there, and I would like to know what his score was. Maybe Mfumo, I can't remember. It was Byron was in the sighting, and so I don't remember who it was, but maybe you guys can help us out on #SafariLive, which Birmingham was the one that climbed the tree, and whether you think that Birmingham climbed better than James, Brent, or Tinyo. And like I say, I don't think Brent is really in this competition at the moment, because while he did climb it very well, his dismount was less than perfect, and how he didn't break something, I'm not quite sure. Now, that is in no way an invite for karma to make me fall out of a tree in any time soon. I'm just going to put that disclaimer out there, because the last time I had something to say about Taylor being stuck in the mud, we all know how that ended. So I'm going to stay well away from trees for the next little bit, and certainly going to try and keep myself out of trouble, because I don't want a similar situation to happen. But there you can see that cut that is underneath the eye. That is definitely a lot wider than it was when we first saw him, and a lot kind of more open, and that's just from grooming. So he kind of kept rubbing his paw over that area. The flies keep landing on it, so he kind of hits it with the paw, and that seems to be forcing the skin open somewhat. Now that's not anything to worry about. There's no need to be stressed about a cut like that. This is just part of a male lion's life. You can see how many other scars are all over that face, which indicates that he is in a situation where he's done this many times before. Now you see he's on the tracks exactly where I was parked just now. I was saying that there's tracks all around me, and so you see he's sniffing on those tracks exactly where we were parked and is busy working out, where did these lions go? I want to find these females because maybe females mean food and as well as mating rights. So you see nose down, sniffing all along the Nkuhuma Pride's tracks, and let's see how he starts to go. Now please excuse the aerial that we have there. He's starting to go behind the car, and so there is an aerial that we do have in the shot, so I do apologize about that. But let me turn for you, Vildi, so you don't have to. Right, here we go. Now I was hoping he was going to stay sleeping there because I moved, otherwise we would have been perfectly situated to follow him from the front. So I'll try and get around him and in front of him and see if we can just kind of reverse as he walks. There we go. So Michael, you say it was Nena that climbed the tree. Well, what do you think, Michael? Can you give me a score, please, as to what you think his climb and dismount was, and then what you think, you know, James's climb and dismounts are like as well. We'll just leave it up to you guys as the judges as to what you think and who you think is the best climber at Safari Live. Obviously, the leopards are disqualified from all of this. They are not allowed to be a part of the climbing competition because, well, that's their speciality. So they don't get to be voted in on all of this. So before you say leopard, we can't have a leopard, unfortunately. I actually think we need to start testing some of the other newer presenters in terms of their tree climbing skills, because I've yet to see Steve, Ralph or Noel up a tree, and I would like to see all three of them try and climb, so we'll have to lay down the challenge. I know it's difficult in the Mara, so we'll have to wait when they all respectively get back to Djuma for them to do so. Right, now there he is. He's just got nose down to the ground, busy sniffing and smelling. So while we try and see where Tinyo is going to go, let's go back across to Scotty D and see what he's up to and whether or not he's had any more luck with Thandi and the cub. Well, we still are with Tinyo, and he's still... Oh, no, we're not doing anything if we're reversing like that. But he's still kind of nose down, sniffing around, trying to work out where this pride has gone. He's ventured off into a thicket a little bit, so I'm a bit hesitant to go in there. I've been in here before, and it is less than ideal to get into this area. It is a horrible, horrible place where he's heading, and it's not a place that I would want to really try and take one of these vehicles before TV shows, because that's a recipe for a bent sidearm, steering rod, something like that when off-roading through this section. Like I say, I've done it twice, and both times was very rough on the cars, and so we don't want to break Rusty before the TV show. Otherwise, Steph, who's probably sitting in FCU, is going to shout at me a lot because we've just fixed all the cars and gotten them sorted, so I don't want to cause any undue stress onto them. And we've had such an epic sighting that I feel like if he does disappear into this thicket, it won't be the worst thing at all. You know, we've at least seen some amazing visuals of Tinyo, and if he, like I say, if he does just start to kind of ghost in, I'll go in a little bit because here is nice and open, but once beyond this, I think we're going to probably have to call it a little bit. He's still kind of got his nose down, but there's tracks that go back towards the road. So I'm kind of hoping that all he's doing is just sniffing where they were moving around, and then he's going to come back towards the road. There we go. We still got at least a fairly decent visual of him. Nope, he's now turning back. No, I don't think we're going to be able to follow him where he's going now. It's going to start getting very rough. This is an area once where Thandi was hunting, and we followed her through here, and it definitely was not very pleasant at all. Now, while we kind of watch Tinyo just disappear into the thickets and into the deep, dark abyss that is this drainage line, let's go back across to Taylor McCurdy, who, well, has held the show together and really is the backbone of this morning's Sunrise Safari.